Hi everyone, it's Meshack, and welcome back to another episode of the Bemused. In this video, I'll be talking about the most stressful thing that I had to deal with when I turned 18, which was picking my own checking account. And I'll also be giving you 10 tips that I think you should look out for when picking your checking account. So let's rewind about 5 years ago in June of 2013 when I turned 18. I had just graduated from high school and I knew that I was going to college in the fall and that I needed to get a checking account. So a little backstory for you. I did have previous experience with checking accounts because when I turned 16, I did some research and I found out that I could get a checking account under the age of 18, but I had to do it with my parent. And what I mean by that is that I needed my mom to open an account with this bank so that I could get an account under her. This account did come with some restrictions. My mom was also able to see the account from her mobile app and see how much funds I had in my account, how much I was spending, where I was spending it, and I believe that she was even also allowed to shut my account down if she thought that I was spending too much or just shut it down for any reason. So as you can imagine, when I turned 18, I knew that I wanted to get my own checking account. And before I give you my story on how I came about choosing a checking account and the top 10 tips that you need to know, I'll give you some things that I learned in that whole process. So the first thing that I learned is that you need to know yourself and your financial institution. And what I mean by that is that you need to know if you are the type of person like Akiva who is okay with having a financial institution that is completely online, where the only way that you communicate is by phone, text, instant message online, or if you're the type of person like me that prefers still being able to drive your car or walk to that physical building where you're going to see a teller, an agent, where you can talk to them about your grievances or any issues that you might have with your account. And the second part of it, when I said knowing your financial institution, is you have to know their rules and regulations. If you don't know and you don't pay attention, it can cost you in the long run. And I'm speaking from personal experience. So back to the story. So like I said, I had a checking account before, so I knew that I wanted to get my own account when I turned 18. When I was looking around, I also learned something that most of you probably already know, which is that banks operate sometimes in different geographical locations. And what I mean by that is that a bank that you might see, 2-3 blocks from your house in New York might not have a branch in Connecticut, but it might have a branch in New Jersey. It might have a branch in Texas, but it might not have a branch in California. So you have to know where you have a branch, and like I said, if you're like me, where you want that physical bank, where there are different locations. So for me, I wanted to get a bank that was going to be close to where I was going to college. So I looked around, and I also wanted to get a bank that was better matched with myself. What I also learned is that with most of these banks, that they charge service fees on their checking accounts. At my bank, I believe that it was $8, but at some institutions, that service fee can range from $8 to as high as $20 per month. And if you multiply $8 or $20 or somewhere in the middle by 12, that's how much you're paying that financial institution to really just keep your money for you. But what I will add is that most banks will give you ways where you can avoid those service fees. Most banks will give you the option to, one, keep a certain dollar amount in your account daily. And if you keep that amount in your account, you do not have to pay any fees on a monthly basis. The second way how you can usually avoid service fees with most financial institutions is if you have a combined dollar amount in a checking and a savings account. Some banks even allow you to have 2 accounts of the same stature, 2 checking accounts. If they have this certain dollar amount in them daily, you can avoid service fees that way. So that's the second way. The third way that most of them allow you to avoid service fees is if you make a not monthly, but if there are a certain amount of deposits, direct deposits that are being made into your checking account within a statement period. Usually it's 2, some institutions it's even 3 in that statement period, and there is usually a dollar amount. I ended up going with Capital One, and the reason why is because of location. I went to Washington Adventist University, and there was a branch that was less than a 10-minute drive away. And how I avoided service fees was keeping $300 in my account. And although when I first opened the account, it was a little annoying to keep those funds in my account, it was a lesson for me, because it was kind of like another little savings within my checking that I knew not to touch. But if anything ever came up, I knew that at least I had $300 there at all times. And that was pretty much my story of picking my checking account. And although I simplified it, it was very, very stressful, because it even, in my case, they had to do a background check on me to open my account. It was just a lot. So now on to the 10 tips that you need to use when picking your checking account. So the first tip is making sure your funds are secure. And what I mean by that is if you're using a traditional bank or if you're using a credit union, that you want to make sure with traditional banks that your funds are FDIC insured. For credit unions, you want to make sure that they are insured with the measure that they use. I'm sorry, I will put the name somewhere down below on the screen. But you want to make sure that your account is insured in some way, so that if there are any fraudulent activities with your funds in your account, that you are able to get your money back. The second tip is fees. And like I mentioned, that is extremely important. You work hard for your money. You do not want to give your money away to a bank or to a credit union because you had $299, in my case, in your account at the close of business, and they're going to charge you $8 a month because you didn't have $300 in your account. You don't want to be giving away your money. The third tip is ease of deposit. And what that means is, I know when I was 18, mobile banking was still pretty new. You weren't able to do that much from your phone app or for online or anything like that. And that was also something that was important to me. Now, I rarely go to my branch to do anything, really just to deposit like change and things like that I have that is not accepted at the ATM. But if I get a check, I'm able to deposit that from my phone, and easy peasy, the money is in my account, no problem. Or if I go to the ATM, I'm able to feed that check, feed my cash to the account, and the money's in my account, no problem. So you want to make sure that there is an ease of deposit, because we can all relate to when we're running to rush to the bank, we have a check or cash, and the bank closes at 5, and you get there at 5:03, and the doors are already closed, and they refuse to let you in. The fourth tip is ATM fees. You want to make sure that you know what they are, and that if you are going to be using external ATMs, that you know what the fees are, and if you can afford to pay them, sure, by all means do that, but at least know what they are and know how much you'll be paying, if it's like in my case where I have to pay to that other financial institution and then to my financial institution. For the fifth tip, know interest rates. Some checking accounts have interest rates. Unfortunately, mine does not. But it would have been something that would have been really nice, because even if it's, 0.001% or 0.0001% that you get in interest, it's still something. The sixth tip is online banking features. And I've kind of touched on this already as well, but it's very, very important. I know that I have friends, and also Akiva, she uses her online banking features to pay some of her utilities, where you don't have to worry about, I have to write this check, or I have to remember to go online to set up this payment with my debit card. Most banks nowadays will allow for you to put in your utility company's name and their address, and if you're bill is pretty much stable throughout the month, throughout the months, it will automatically just send that check every single month. And it's also a lot more secure for you as the individual because the bank is sending a check. The 7th tip is minimum balance requirements. I think this goes without saying. Tip number 8 is branch availability. In my story, with going to a different state, you want to make sure that wherever you go, that your branch is going to be somewhere nearby, where if you need $20 or if you need, $15, whatever it is, that you can get into that branch and get what you need. Tip number 9 is customer service. Oh my goodness. With that account that I had when I was 16, I didn't realize how good they were. Because they had 24-hour customer service, or darn near almost 24 hours. The bank that I have now, they close at 11 p.m. And although, for most people that's late enough, I personally prefer a bank that is going to have customer service that is open 24 hours. I prefer to have that option where I can call them at any time. So you want to make sure that, you check the customer service times and see if that works for you with your account. The last tip number 10, is availability of funds. You want to make sure that with your bank account that your funds are available, that you can take them out at any time that you need them. Some banks have rules where you cannot just go and close out your account and get all of your funds at one time. This varies bank to bank. With my bank, if I close it out, I do believe that my account out, I do believe that there is some sort of waiting period. I'm not sure exactly what it is, so I'm not following my own tips. But you need to know how available your funds are. If per day you can take out $500, $1,000, $10,000, but you need to know and pick the account that best suits you. So that's all of my tips on picking checking accounts, and I'll have them listed somewhere here on the screen where you can see all of those tips again. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so that you always know when we post new videos. And comment below which financial institution you use, which tips you thought were the most helpful, or maybe some tips that you think that I left out.